Hey, we are back. It is the Essentials Podcast.
Episode 6.
Episode 6. Man, the devil did not want us to do this podcast right here.
Look, do not blame the devil.
Oh, it has been a hard time.
In this particular situation, I'm not sure that it isn't the devil. I don't know.
So we lost. We actually did this podcast once already.
Yeah, we filmed it like the Sunday before the July 4th because we filmed 2 episodes, the Freedom episode and the Top 5 Women. But Paul went to Africa.
And I think this is a lesson on the power of your words.
Should we blame this on Paul?
I think so, because every time we do this, without fail,
this is true.
Paul comes to my house and goes, Joe Michael, we lost the footage. And first couple of times I was like, oh man. And Paul's like, I'm a professional. I don't lose stuff like that.
We did lose the footage.
This time,
he did lose the footage. You know, you would think that a professional would back it up with
professional.
But we lost it. And then we were going to film on Sunday. This is actually Thursday night. We were going to film on Sunday, and someone came down with COVID. He said he tested twice.
COVID.
So this is 4 days later. So
guys, don't put your masks on. It's okay. I don't have COVID.
You might get it through. And as we get ready for this, we are having rolling blackouts about every 15 minutes.
We literally said 3, 2, 1 to start, and we pointed it and
so
it went.
We're not even sure if this will come off. But
it may go out, but
here's the worst thing about losing episode 6 and the Top 5 Women and having to refilm that tonight. The worst thing is I continued my undefeated streak in trivia, and so that 6-0 streak is now gone.
That never happened.
It did happen. Paul says he has audio.
This is true. I can confirm that.
No, that's not me. People do impersonations of me.
Let's get into this. We actually did 10 through 6. It was Miriam, Sarah, Mary and Martha, and Deborah and Mary Magdalene. We did it with Pastor Chris Wesley, June the 22nd.
That's 2 months ago.
Yes, as we film today, it's August the 9th or 10th. I don't know.
Time.
But we're here. Yeah. Sponsors today, John Michael. Let's go with sponsors
today. We're going to start off with, come on.
Oh, you dumped Jacob here.
No, was Jacob our first sponsor?
Usually goes Jacob first, Heritage Land and Minerals.
Heritage Land and Minerals.
Wow, I got you, Jacob. I got you. You're my guy. But you go ahead with your popping of the Fitz Diet root beer there.
Well, where did I get this Fitz Diet root beer?
At Jordan E's Popcorn and Candy.
Yeah, they've got all kinds of stuff that you can't get anywhere else. This is actually the only other place you can get this at any kind of decent price is actually in St. Louis, Missouri at the Fitz. But this is such good stuff.
If you want to take care of teachers or some students throughout the year, great place to go in Waxahachie, Texas. Yes. Also, if you need books for school or college or just personal reading, our other sponsor downtown, Paper Leaves.
Paper Leaves.
Bookstore and plant shop.
Yes.
I don't know that I'd buy, well, I don't want to say that, but I'm going to wait about 2 weeks to buy a plant until it drops below 100 degrees.
Funny story, I went and bought a plant for my wife 2 months ago. And then last month I went back, I bought her a plant and a book. I bought her another plant, different plant, which was the other one was already dead. And then I bought her a really cool new book. And then I realized I bought her the same book twice in a row.
Oh, wow. But I would recommend Paper Leaves in Waxahachie, Bookstore and Plant Shop.
And our main sponsor, Heritage Land. And I'm sorry,
Jacob's going to cut you out. So here we go. We got to get into this because I have a dinner tonight with Robert and Tiffany Garca at 6:30. And I'm not sure we're going to make that. So we need to get to this. So it's going to be faster than normal, which might make Paul happy because he falls asleep back there when we start talking about the Bible.
Man.
So here we go. Number 5.
Number five is...
You want to go over 10 through 6 again?
Okay. So let's do it real quick.
I just did it while ago.
Number 10 was Miriam, the wife of... Sister of Moses, sorry. Sarah, the
number 9.
Wife. Number 9 was Sarah, the wife of Abraham. Mary and Martha, cousins of Jesus, relatives of Jesus. Friends, relatives.
I don't think they were relatives, but I don't want to get into that. But go ahead. I'm not going to question your historical...
Was Lazarus a relative of Jesus?
I'm not thinking so, but hey, go ahead. If you want to go that route, people are already questioning anything you say to them.
Deborah, the Sandra Day O'Connor of the judges, the female judge.
I would say this. I think Deborah and Mary Magdalene, number 6, need to be higher, but that's where we are. Deborah, number 7, Mary Magdalene, number 6, and number 5, top 5 women of all time. Sorry we don't have Chris here, but I mean, he's doing pastoring things of the leading a church thing. So what's number 5, John Michael?
Number 5, she is Ruth, the young lady named Ruth who was in captivity.
And why does she belong in the top 10?
So Ruth was the the mother, I'm sorry, Ruth actually, it's been a while, I'm looking at my notes here.
You're not even funny
Ruth,
anymore.
Actually, look, I've been sick for 2 days. I met it up. So
Why does Ruth belong?
Ruth belongs is because she actually had a mother in, and I hate this, a mother in love, a mother-in-law.
Are you making fun of my mom?
I'm not making fun of your mom. Have you ever called her your mother-in-love?
No, but I feel like if I call my mother-in-law mother-in-love, I feel like that's making fun of her.
Yeah,
so since your
then make fun of
mother-in-law
you.
is my mom, it feels like you're making fun of my
I would
mom.
make fun of if you said mother-in-love.
Okay.
Anyway, all right, but she saw the faithfulness of the Lord and recognized it.
She did, really did.
And stayed with her mother-in-law, Naomi.
Yeah, it was an amazing moment.
So, if you don't know the story, Naomi and Ruth, Naomi was the mom, her husband died. Ruth married one of her sons, her husband died. Orpah, the third,
Yes.
all three of the men in the family died. And
So it was a mother and then 2 daughters-in-law.
Ruth was not an Israelite, she was a Moabite. And so when her husband died and they had no hope of supporting themselves, Naomi looked at Ruth and said, hey, you go back to your people, find someone that can take care of you. And this is just
Find another husband.
Yeah, and Ruth makes the statement, which again, this is going to be later.
Hey, you can't do this
point,
because
so
this is my point.
She loved her enough that she stayed with her.
Yeah, I think Ruth belongs because what you're about to say right there is that there's that moment in Ruth chapter 1 verse 14 where it says when Orpah leaves and goes back,
right.
And she listens to the common sense and the natural wisdom because she's not going to have another chance to go back to Bethlehem and find a husband. Ruth stays. It says she clung to Naomi. So why she belongs? Because she clung to her, and that leads to one of the most famous right. verses in the Old Testament, still used in weddings today, where Ruth tells Naomi, verse 16 of Ruth 1, don't urge me to leave you. There goes the lights. The lights are out.
Rolling blackouts.
So we're going to see. Don't urge me to leave you or turn back from you. Where you go, I will go. Where you stay, I will stay. Your people be my people, and your God, my God. Where you die, I will die, and there will I be buried. May the Lord deal with me, be it ever so severely, if anything but death separates you and me. Those 2 verses right there, that's why Ruth belongs in the top 5. I mean, that's powerful.
And I feel like the King James captures it so much better. Whithersoever thou goest,
Why do you have to make fun of the King James?
I'm not. That's how I learned in Bible.
I determined in our little break here that we were going to be more serious, but
okay.
It literally is impossible. I mean, I'm trying to be kind and compassionate and caring, but
that's what people know you.
She had a mother in love. That's your point. That's why she belongs.
And then secondly,
I think she belongs because she clung.
I think she belongs because she's a Gentile. She is,
and
again, so. Let me just tell you what one of my Jewish friends who knows what the Jews would say. They would say, a Jewish man would wake up in the morning and say, thank the Lord that I am not a woman, thank the Lord that I am not a Gentile. So not only is she a woman, which is already marginalized in that culture, but she's also a Gentile woman.
Explain what a Gentile means.
Just anything not Jewish, anyone who is not one of the children of God. And so what ends up happening here is now this is this woman who's displaced from her land. She's not just displaced in where America brings people in and loves them. She's in a place where she's marginalized. She's viewed as an outsider. There's just not a lot of hope.
And even a foreigner in that time period, I mean, it took on such a different meaning because the Jews had such an opposition and such a pushback against the Gentiles. So, I mean, literally what she has to overcome is unbelievable.
And buying and selling land was not a thing. Land was passed from generation to generation, and she had no options for that.
Wow.
So it's just, it's crazy. So, but because she was but as a Gentile, her story is so powerful that she ends up being the great grandmother of who? King David. Like the king.
I mean, once she becomes the wife of Boaz, they will have a son and then another grandson and then a great grandson.
Obed. Is it Salmon after that? It's been a long time since I did the genealogy in Bible quiz.
Jesse, Obed, Boaz.
Yeah.
Salmon goes up.
That's right. Salmon,
which probably is Rahab's husband potentially, but we can get into that. We can get into that later. I'm sorry, I have to correct you. So she's a Gentile. For me, I love the fact I believe Ruth belongs because she has the power of healing. I mean, there's a point where Naomi, when she goes back in chapter 1, she goes back to Bethlehem, to her family, her hometown. She's lost everything. She's been gone for 10 years. And they look, Naomi's back. And she looks at her former friends, her former, people that she spent her life with. She looks at them and says, don't call me Naomi. Call me Mara. Verse 20 of Ruth 1. And she says, I'm not Naomi anymore. My life is, I lost my husband, I lost my 2 sons. Call me Mara, which means bitter.
Bitter water.
Bitter. And when will marry Boaz and give birth to a son. I mean, and Naomi will take him in chapter 4, and he'll care for him, and he'll name him Obed, and blessing came through Ruth. And Ruth brought a healing to Naomi's bitterness and brought a future and a hope to her, and I just love that.
Well, and for me, I'm going to move on to my hidden gem because with Boaz.
Controversy.
I have to go controversy first.
We always do controversy first.
So here's the deal. In the whole, so there was a point where one of the other relatives was going to come and take over Naomi's land.
Yeah.
And in that process, Boaz, who's actually played it pretty smart, said, "Oh, you can buy all this land. You can be the kinsman redeemer. You can be the one that does this. But this chick also comes with the land. Ruth also comes with it." And that other person said, "I don't want to take care of another wife," which. I mean, who can blame the guy? But I'm just
unless you're Solomon.
Yeah, this is true. That guy, nuts. Anyway, but so he looks at him and goes, "I'm sorry, that's a deal." Ruth was a deal breaker.
Yeah.
She was the reason that someone wouldn't take the property that was rightfully, it's pretty crazy.
Look, I had, and why she belongs, I had legacy, which you kind of had with the Gentile, the great mother of King David. So my controversy with Ruth is the fact that her pursuit of Boaz. Now, I can't really blame her because Naomi kind of put her up to it, but when Naomi sees that Boaz is the guy and he kind of likes her, I mean, she sets it up where, I mean, think of the thing. Here, honey, wash, take a bath, put on some perfume,
yes.
Put on your best clothes, and then go into the threshing floor after he's had a little too much to drink and lay
at his feet.
Lay in the bed at his
yeah.
feet. And I just, we would never recommend this for
this is not dating 101 here. This is not
dating 101.
dating.
This is controversial dating. But if you're out
That's my
there
hidden gem,
and
by
you're
the way.
single and you don't have a husband,
We can show you.
Ruth 3:3 kind of gives you insight into wash, perfume, put on your best clothes,
And you know what?
and go into the guy you want bedroom and lay at his feet.
Let me say this: if any of you young ladies out there have ever had an interest in Paul, you may have to pull the Ruth and make all the moves. You make all the moves.
We are making it. We would love for Ruth to show up in the marriage.
Just make all the moves
But that's another thing. So hidden gem about Ruth.
Sorry, this is for losing our podcast thing.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Hidden gem about Ruth.
That was it. It was that Boaz actually admired her, but Ruth made all the moves. She's the one that made all the. That was my gem. So you're right there with it.
My hidden gem is that David is a fourth generation Moabite. Because what you said earlier, David is the great grandson of Ruth, and he's and she was a Gentile. Gentiles were not allowed to enter into the assembly of the Lord. Deuteronomy 23:3, no Moabite down to the 10th generation because of what they did to the Israelites when they were going from Egypt into the promised land. And David gets to worship for the Ark of the Covenant. He gets to be king over Israel. God broke all the rules. The rules for David. Because I tell you this is New Testament right here in the Old
Salvation
Testament.
is for the Gentiles.
Love breaks the curse.
Yes.
And it does. And Ruth's love broke the curse and allowed her great grandson.
And this is the message of Paul, right? Is that salvation, it's not just for the Jews, it's for the Gentiles as well. And this is where that whole, Jerusalem council thing.
That whole love covers a multitude of sins, which is why Paul still likes Taylor Swift.
So Ruth.
Yeah, so.
Ruth, right? You're not wearing a Taylor Swift shirt today.
Number four. So what's number 4? We got Ruth number 5. Who's number 4?
Number 4 is Hannah, the mother of the great prophet Samuel.
I like this. I didn't really think Hannah belonged when I first got into this.
We didn't make the list, so to remind you.
Yes, we didn't make the list. It was 5 different women who voted, so we weren't a part of the voting of this. Why does she belong?
Hannah belonged because she was the first person that was cyber bullied. Maybe not cyber, but she was bullied. Her pain, and in her pain, it pushed her to seek the Lord. Wow. Now, if you'll notice all this stuff, there's always I don't want to.
Her husband had another wife.
Right. A lot of this drama that happens is the women in the same household. Yes. So her stepwife, I don't know how that works, sister wife or whatever,
I have no idea.
Had kids out the wazoo. She was fertile myrtle. The husband would walk in and sneeze, and she would get pregnant. But Hannah,
verse 4 of chapter 1 says about the other wife, all of her sons and daughters. Like
all
she sounds like 10 or 12.
She was very fertile and willing to have children, and so in those days, currency for a woman. That was what gave her, again, this is a different time, but it's what gave her significance, was her ability to have children and have men children. And Hannah could not, and her rival Peninnah bullied her. And again, like in so many of these stories, the husband loved Hannah. Peninnah felt like she was the favored one.
So she's bullied, but why does she belong?
Because her pain pushed her into the closet with the Lord, into a place of prayer, a place of intimacy with God in the temple.
That's really close to what I have, because I kind of have it here that she stood up. I mean, and she got to a point right there where she had enough with the provoking of her rival Peninnah and her husband, all these kind of things. And I think it's the GOAT characteristics of the great men and women in the Bible is when the opposition comes, they stand up. She stood up to her rival. She didn't listen to her mocking. She stood up to her husband. She didn't settle. He goes, "Aren't I worth more to you than 10 sons?" Hannah, but she didn't settle, and she stood up to Eli when she's seeking the Lord. Like you said, she's praying. And he goes, "Are you drunk? It's not even lunchtime yet." And so she defended herself to Eli. She said, "I'm calling the Lord." I love the fact that she stood up. So
and I have that she prayed differently. Yeah. Like Eli looks at her and she's down there and she's so intense that she's doing the whole. Her lips are moving, but he thinks she's drunk, and she just prayed, and that just pushed her to such a place with the Lord. And secondly, she made a promise to God, and she actually kept it.
I love in these moments where we have these rare moments where this is actually my number 2 as well.
I mean, because so many times people in the Bible, we as believers, and I was a kid, I was like, "Lord Jesus, if you could just let me have an Atari 2600, I will never lie to my parents again." But rarely do people make a promise to God, make a vow to the Lord, and keep it 100%. And this is a tough one.
Yeah, because she makes the promise that she's gonna if you give me a child, I'm gonna take
give it right back to you.
I'm gonna give it right back. Now it doesn't say that in Scripture, but it's obviously the promise that she made because it's what she does, and she takes her son and gives it to him. I can't. So you have another reason why she belongs, or was that just it for you?
Every year she made Samuel a little coat. She was a good mother.
You know what mine is?
What is it?
Her victory song.
That's my hidden gem.
Your hidden gem.
My hidden gem is.
I think we called this in our lost podcast. We called this the Taylor Swift song, where she is mocking her rival.
This podcast does not condone the previous comments made regarding Taylor Swift.
I mean, I think verse 1.
Do you have it? Because I have it.
Oh, you go ahead. You can say it, chapter 2.
Do not keep talking. She's singing this after she has her child, and she's basically singing this to Peninnah. "Do not keep talking so proud, and let your mouth speak such arrogance. For the Lord is a God who knows, and by him deeds are weighed. The bow of the warrior is broken, but those who stumble are armed with strength. Those who were full now hire themselves out for food. But those who were hungry are hungry no more." This is my favorite part. "She who was barren has borne 7 children, but he who has had many sons pines away." What a great...
I like you skip verse 1, but the last part of verse 1, she goes, "My mouth boasts over my enemies." And she just has this victory dance song over her hater.
I love it.
That's why she belongs. You had her controversy for me. I couldn't really come up with anything except for she did take Samuel and drop him off at Eli's house.
Eli was not
It was a very dysfunctional family. His sons are having sex in the temple.
Go look up Hophni and Phinehas so you know kind of these are not good guys.
Yeah, they're stealing from the temple, and even though she's keeping her promise, even as a parent, I'm struggling handing my...
Aren't they having sex in the temple?
Yes, they're having sex in the temple.
These are bad guys.
So, hidden gem.
And ultimately...
you already said your hidden gem.
Ultimately, her son would be the judgment of the Lord on Eli. It's crazy.
Yeah, it was. And my hidden gem is that God didn't just give her Samuel. She's going to have 5 more kids. She's going to have
7. 6.
But it says she gave birth to 3 sons and 2 daughters.
Right, but here in her little sentence, I'm going 7 children. So somehow or another, we missed one of the. There's 7 children. That
1 Samuel 2:21 says she gave birth to 3 sons and 2 daughters. So I don't know. I have no idea. Maybe she's talking about somebody else. But all that being said is she's going to get a blessing beyond just the promise of 1 son.
Sometimes my wife says she has 3 children. We only have 2 boys. Right.
So
maybe that's what she's
talking about. We have Ruth.
Yep.
We have Hannah. And number 3.
Number 3 is the harlot Rahab.
She's not a harlot. She's not a harlot. She's an innkeeper.
My King James Version says
the Hebrew translation says innkeeper. But no, why does she belong?
The reason why she belongs is because here's the bottom line. She hid the Hebrew spies not once, but twice.
Wow.
They come into Jericho. They're spying out the land, and apparently the authorities are after them. They've been found. She puts them in her. She covers them up. She hides them. I don't know if she pretended they were John's or whatever, but she hid them. So then they go back, and when they come back across the Jordan, at the end of the mission, they come back in, and she hides them again. So it's not like a one-time thing. They're thinking, okay, we're being chased. We're going to need to find somebody.
Literally, there's no entering into the promised land without her action. God uses her to bring about the victory that He had promised to Moses and then to Joshua. I mean, she belongs to me, because she's one of two women who are mentioned by name in Hebrews chapter 11, which is the Hall of Faith chapter. Verse 31, by faith Rahab, she welcomed the spies and was not killed along with everyone else that was disobedient. I mean, she belongs there because she welcomed the spies. And that's exactly what you said. But then Hebrews names her by name. Right. So what else? Why does she belong?
The scarlet cloth. So her action right there, and this is what we don't get so many times when we do things and the Holy Spirit speaks to us or we do something good. We don't understand we don't see the supernatural. She didn't even see that through helping the spies in that moment, that as the spies were leaving, they look at her and go, we're about to destroy this city, but if you'll tie a scarlet cloth in your door, then everything else is going to be destroyed, but your entire family, your whole family, everyone that is important to you will be saved if they're covered by that scarlet cord.
And there goes the lights again. But I'm telling you, we're not stopping this podcast. No. The rolling blackouts in Texas, 107 degrees, are not stopping our voices. We will not be silenced. We will not be, I can't say cancel anymore, but we will go forward, lights or no lights.
He said it.
I'm sorry. A scarlet cloth, that was a great,
it saved his family, it saved her family.
And that's kind of mine, but why she belongs, but why she belongs is not my part of the wall. Joshua 2:15, the house where she lived was a part of the city wall. When they marched around the city once a day for 6 days, 7 times on the 7th day, 13 total times, they shouted to the Lord. The walls came down. But Joshua 6:22, Joshua says, go to the prostitute's house and bring her out. So if he was going to the prostitute's house, her house was a part of the city wall.
They mentioned that.
Which means her part of the wall didn't come down.
That's the one part.
I love it because it goes back to their family. If you are going after God like Rahab, if you're going after God like these great men and women of the Bible, there is a protection over your home, a protection over, am I preaching here? I feel like I'm preaching here. But it is there, and you can look at the enemy and go, no. I don't care if everything around me is going to fall. Not my part of the wall. I got the scarlet cord.
And again, it's that one act earlier. Yeah. This is what you need to understand is when you obey the Lord, when you may not even see the effects of it until generations when your part of the wall is still standing.
And then controversy?
So again, this is the controversy, is that you said it because they called her a harlot in the King James version, but actually she was more like a madam. So this is not just she actually owns the inn.
People make arguments in the Old Testament. Oh, it's an innkeeper. She wasn't a prostitute.
I understand
but in Hebrews 31, by faith, the prostitute Rahab. So yes, she was a prostitute.
But more of a madam because she actually was an innkeeper.
Because she's in the Hall of Faith. People struggle with our past.
You can't, It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
I love it.
My controversy is she lied. In Proverbs 6, there's 6 things that God hates, 7 that are detestable to Him. 2 of those 7 things God thinks are detestable are lying. But yet here she lies. When they came, and where are the 2 men that came? She goes, oh no, they went that way. When they're under her roof, and then she's going to them off that way. So is lying okay to do the Lord's will?
Santa Claus.
No.
I don't know if that's a...
I'm okay with Santa Claus, but no fat red... I hope no kids are watching this. If the kids are watching this, you should cover their ears right now. But no fat, round, happy guy in a red suit is going to get credit for all the money and the presents that I buy. So
no kids are watching this.
No, that's true. That's true. Just in case you're in the car with your kids, I was giving you a warning there.
Yeah.
So hidden gem, anything?
So my hidden gem was that. And again, you kind of touched on it, but I love what Hebrews chapter 11:31 says, because she welcomed the spies. It says she was not killed with those who were disobedient. There is not a more deserving of judgment profession in those days, but because of her one act of faith, like she was totally in a different category. She wasn't like, again, that's what the thief on the cross. He was no longer that. He was he immediately with. I just love it. I love what the grace of God does with one act of obedience and vow.
One act.
One act.
What I like about Ruth is the fact that she's the great grandmother of David, but then we look at Rahab. She's the great great grandmother of David, because many commentators believe that Rahab married one of the two spies, and they did give birth to Boaz. And so just the genealogy, the lineage is there. I love it. I mean, so that's number 5, which is Ruth, number 4, which is Hannah, number 3, which is Rahab. We're down to the top 2, but it's time for Block C. We're going to take a break. We did this on the Lost episode 6.
Talk about things that didn't age well.
We actually talked about the movies we were going to see. I wanted to see Indiana Jones. I wanted to see Sound of Freedom. I wanted to see Oppenheimer. Well, I went to see Indiana Jones, but then I had a phone call.
You had to go to the bathroom.
I had a phone call.
Oh, okay.
And it was a 45-minute phone call that I saw the daughter show up, but then I missed the next 45 minutes.
I haven't seen Indiana
So I missed the middle of it. If I had to watch it, it was okay. But I wanted to see Oppenheimer, but then I heard there was like a 15-minute nudity scene in the middle of it, and I don't know. It's just one of the things, me and the Lord, I didn't go see it. I was heartbroken because it was the film.
I'm taking my boys next.
And we talked about Sound of Freedom, which I did see, which is amazing. But we don't have time to talk about the movies.
Oh, yeah, we do. The Sound of Freedom was.
It's great. We can talk about that. We're gonna do a movie thing later on.
So we're gonna do something else now.
No, because right now instead of doing the movie talk, we're gonna do family talk.
Oh no.
Now I've got 3 topics of recently in my family, and do you have any? And so one is me and Susanna's bet over Barbie and Mission Impossible over opening weekend receipts. The other is Italy anniversary, 35th anniversary trip. And Taylor Swift, and then there's a daughter-in-law moment for my son's fiance Alyssa. They're getting married, but I think the family talk that I'm going to share, I'm not going to deal with Barbie and Mission Impossible, because I think I may do I may go watch Barbie and do like a review on this podcast.
Let me just tell you
Barbie.
That Tammy Jean walks in and says,
I don't care.
10 of 10. That's
but
what she said.
My family talk right now is I really need our thousands of subscribers, viewers. I need your help. I need you to vote on this, because next summer, we're married July 15th, 1989. So next summer is our 35th anniversary.
Yes.
Michelle wants to go to Italy. And so we're kind of making plans for middle of July next year going to Italy. And so I was reading something in the paper, and I saw that Taylor Swift has a Europe tour all next year. And I was thinking, I wonder when she's in Italy. So I Googled online, and I saw Taylor Swift is going to be in Milan, Italy on July 13th, 14th, and 15th. And so I innocently said to my children, my young adult children,
did you do
I
that?
said, hey, can y'all look for Michelle and I tickets to go? And they both looked at me and said, if you go to Taylor Swift in Italy, you're dead to me, and we're putting you in a nursing home as soon as we get the chance. So I need you to vote.
That wasn't exactly what I said.
You said it.
You said it
a minute ago.
So here's I need you to vote. If you're watching this, you put it in the comments. You can text me. You can email me. Should we take Paul and Susanna and David and Alyssa to see Italy and then maybe see Taylor Swift over there, or should Michelle and I just do it together on a romantic getaway away from us?
The answer is no. Just go enjoy your 35th year anniversary. How many just solo trips do you and Michelle get just on your own without?
So you're not voting. That's for the audience. You got a family talk for you? You got a family talk?
You don't have to take. We could just go separately.
I do have a family talk, because we're gonna actually touch
Where are you
this.
gonna stay? Where are you gonna stay if you go separately? You're gonna try to move yourself into whatever villa that we're staying in over there. So do you have a family talk?
I do. I have to give props to my 2 nieces. From Fine Arts. Let me just say this. Again, if you're not from Trinity and you don't know what Fine Arts is, wow, thanks for watching our podcast. But besides that, my 2 nieces, I am super proud. They made a human video this year. I don't know if you know what that all entails, but it's a lot.
About one of the top 10
one of the top 10 women of the Bible.
Yeah.
Sarai. And since I saw it at Desert Theater, which was about a month ago, I thought, man, that is one of the best videos of the year from Trinity. And Paul, what did you say? I don't remember if you had. Did you?
Let's not throw Paul under
Okay.
the bus anymore.
All right.
We've done that enough today.
But I just want to give them a congratulations. I also want to congratulate my son, who had a phenomenal year at Fine Arts.
I was really proud of Aaron and Danielle and Joseph. It was amazing.
And Susanna. Susanna, just our family.
And if you leave Josh out, he will get his feelings hurt because he's a lot like you.
I was going
if you
to.
don't pat him and
I
go,
know
you're
where I was
really
going
good,
to.
I'm proud of you.
Our young adults in our family, this is one of the things I'm very proud of, is that they're all involved in church. They're still involved. They're all involved in ministry. Paul, helping with some stuff. And just the way
And pastors on staff.
Yeah, on staffs at places and with. But I just the way they pour into kids, I love it. That's my
We have a
family.
great family. So
Yeah.
that's our family talk. I'm sorry we bored you with that, but should I go to Italy with or without my kids? That's a good question. Number 2, greatest women of all time, and well, never mind. You go ahead.
Go ahead. No, I want to hear it. Say it. You need to say it.
No.
Say
You go
it.
first.
So you
Esther does not belong at number 2. I know she has a book named after her in the Bible. I love Esther. She belongs in the top 10. Probably belongs in the top 5. She doesn't belong number 2, but
Why is that?
because Mordecai. Why did you do that?
I baited him into it. I did.
Because Mordecai.
You're saying
Mordecai
this
guides
Mordecai?
her. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that, but I do love Esther because the courage
We
she
do,
had is
we do.
amazing. Why does she belong? Because literally, it's that one statement she makes, even though she didn't want
I
to do
love
it, even though she pushes back on her uncle and she says, "I don't want to go before the king. If I go before the king, I could perish." And then she looks at him and goes, "You know what? I'm gonna save my people." And she makes that statement in Esther 4:16. If I perish, I perish. She saved her nation. Haman was gonna spend $250 million,
Eradicating.
375 tons of silver, which is 10,000 talents, which is, to eradicate a people, and she saved them. That's why she belongs.
I am a big time Esther lover.
I know you are. You would not be married if you're not.
Yeah, but I will say this.
You need to be really careful in
Here's
the next
the
5
number.
minutes.
Here's the number one reason that Esther should be on this list. At least
When
in the top 10
Tammy
list.
Jean did this list, the top 10 was Esther, 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 Esther.
Mary. So look, the reason that she belongs is that she actually was a young adult that listened to the advice of her elders.
Yeah.
She didn't tell anyone. She came in. She didn't tell anyone she was Hebrew on Mordecai's advice. She listened to every level on how to turn the king's heart. Everything that Mordecai, even before her statement, Mordecai looks at her and says, "Who knows that you haven't been set in this place for such a time as this?" And she didn't go. That's not again, teenagers, young adults. We all when we were that age, we think we know everything. She listened to the counsel, and so that makes her right there. Makes her just such a vessel for the Lord to use.
I kind of think that too, because I think the wisdom here is, even though Mordecai is the one getting in, she listens to his wisdom, she has a real crafty plan that she sets up to trap him.
Yeah.
And once she gets into the king and does that courageous moment, she doesn't tell the king the first time what she wants. She says, "Hey, come back the next day, and then I'll, at a dinner, at a banquet, I'm going to do." And Haman's like, I'm going to be this great guy, the queen loves me, I'm at a banquet, but she sets him up, and she doesn't jump right into it. The wisdom she has to navigate her plan, that was her own plan, which is where I would say she's great right here for that very reason. I love her.
And I will say this, because it's the book of Esther, and I believe this is a sovereign reason that it's called the book of Esther. This book has the most twists and turns.
Yeah.
I love it. In the middle of the book, it brings you back to Mordecai saving the king's life. And then Haman, before he dies, God didn't just kill him. This is my favorite part. He makes him walk through the city going, you can just see him leading the horse. This is what the king does for the man that he would like to honor. All the things that he had suggested. It's just a cool book.
And the Lord turns every enemy against Mordecai and Esther and the Jews, against them, and then they suffer the punishment
Before they die.
that they had planned for the people. And again, it's something you need to believe for your own life, your own family, your own business, that what the enemy means for your destruction, God's going to shift it and turn it for your good and put all that on them.
Yeah.
So, controversy?
For real. Well, she won Syria's top model, / Temptation Island, / I don't know.
She did win a national or empire
beauty contest.
For me, the controversy is anyone who thinks One Night of the King is a good movie. It is not. The king is he's preparing
dare you.
virgin women for a year to have sex with a different one every night. How that is not a romantic movie. Do not be lulled to sleep by some.
How dare you, sweetheart, Tammy Jean.
I'm
That
sorry.
is a good movie.
I'm
no
sorry.
matter what
I'm
your
sorry.
brother
Hidden
says.
Gem.
Hidden Gem. She was the first Me Too'er. Again, part of her plan. She gets to where she sets the hook, and Haman is caught. And the Bible. I don't know what Haman was thinking, but the king leaves angry when he finds out what Haman did. Walks out of the room, and Haman just lays on top of Esther, saying, "Please save me." Basically, putting his hands on the king's wife. And the king saw him and he said, "Will you molest my wife right in front of me?"
That's true.
And he immediately puts him to death.
I don't know that she's the first Me Too'er, but maybe not.
She was- yeah,
For
well,
me,
that's
it's the
probably
only
true.
book in the Bible where the name of God is not mentioned.
Yep.
I mean, so that's just an interesting tidbit. Number one, best
Number
woman of all time.
one. Everybody knows who this is, right? And I think she gets a bad rap in our circles because of
The Catholic situation.
what other people believe about her and what they've added to
Right.
the. But she was the reason that Mary is number one. Mary, the Virgin Mary, the mother of Jesus, is because she was a woman of God. So listen, this is the young lady that you want for your kids, for your boys. She got the attention of God by the way she lived her life. She was such a good girl. Like she was such a godly woman that God trusted her.
Not just a woman, but really a teenager.
A teenager, that God entrusted her with his son. Like, again,
God chose her.
yeah.
I mean, in verse 28 of Luke 1, you are highly favored, the Lord is with you. And then verse 35, the Holy Spirit's going to come upon you, and the power of the Most High is going to overshadow you. I mean, and she's going to become impregnated with the Son of God. I mean, God chose Mary. That right there, to give birth to Jesus, it's like game over.
I know parents don't leave their kids with other
We
with their
don't
parents.
We don't need to say anything else about Mary
Yes.
other than God. God chose her.
God trusted her. He looked at her and said, "You're gonna."
Did you have anything else even last few more?
Absolutely. That. She was the only woman in human history ever to have a baby without being with a human being.
No, you're arguing with Rob Bell, I see.
Yeah.
Down here. And I've heard
Okay,
this
so
several other
again,
times.
what
Recently, that people are like, well, what if, would it mess with your entire faith? Would it change the way you believe in the Bible if Mary wasn't really a virgin? And it's the whole bricks versus springs thing. And I'm like, because Rob Bell, that was one of the things he talked about a while back, several years ago. And I'm like, yeah, yes, it would. It would absolutely, because the fact that Jesus is the Son of the living God through Mary, that's the basis of our salvation. And you can't overlook
And
that.
I really could have just stopped with God chose her, and that's really enough because she's the woman that God chose to have the birth of Jesus. But there are some great Christmas songs we have because of Mary. I mean, "Oh Holy Night," "Silent Night," "Mary, Did You Know?", "Breath of Heaven." I mean, these songs transform me, and we wouldn't have those without Mary. So she belongs for that.
Round, Yon Virgin.
For "Oh Holy Night," Mary belongs, which is the greatest Christmas song of all time. We will have a Christmas special coming up for the Essentials. You don't want to miss that.
For sure.
Hidden Gem, you got one before we close it out tonight?
I do. So I got two, actually. She facilitated Jesus' first miracle just by being a mom. Jesus is at a wedding, and they're out of wine, and she goes, "Oh, my baby can take care of that." And Jesus is like, no. It's not my time yet. "Oh, no. And she looks at him and goes, yes. So he says no, and she walks out and goes, "Go get him some water. He'll take care of it."
It's a powerful moment. My hidden gem is she was rejected by society for getting pregnant without a man that anybody knew. She was rejected by her husband to be, but yet she still accepts the assignment God gave her. I just love Mary. God chose her. God chose her, and that's why she's the number one greatest woman of all time.
And here's what we don't think about. She did it, thinking she might have to do it alone after what Joseph said to her.
Wow.
She might have to do it alone. And then controversy. She lost the Son of God. Literally lost Jesus. Like, I get in trouble when I lose my keys. That's bad. Yeah. Losing, but that's the controversy. It's not
That's
much.
it. That's
All
it
right.
for Mary. So, and that's it for
Number
our top
one.
5. Wow.
Oh, and now it
Last
is
one
time.
out. Now it's time for trivia.
Oh, we can't do. Oh.
John Michael is really trying to down
No,
6 to 0.
Look, I'm down 5-0.
6 to 0.
I can. There's an ass by that. That really
I
happened.
have a dinner in Arlington that I have to be at in 10 minutes, and it's going to take us 10 minutes to do this trivia. Let's get right to it.
Let's do it.
Right to it.
Okay. The first one is a bonus round. It'll be a list as usual. Okay.
Yes, we know how well I do with these.
The winner goes first, and seeing as how you haven't won. What are the 20 most popular Bible verses according to online search rankings? 20 most popular Bible verses based on Google searches.
You're let John Michael go first? Or
No,
not?
you
goes
you
first.
won.
John 3:16.
John 3:16 is number 1. That is correct.
For the wages of sin is death, but the gift of God is eternal life through Jesus Christ our Lord.
I need a reference.
Romans. So bad with references.
I need a reference.
Romans 6:23.
That is number 10 on the
Oh,
list.
I made it. I just made it. I'm so bad with references. This
1
is
to
bad.
1.
Psalm 23:1. The Lord is my shepherd.
That is number 8 on the list. Yes. 2 to 1.
Genesis 1:1.
Genesis 1:1, I'm pretty sure is on the list, but let me double check. Genesis 1:1 is number 9 on the list. Yes, 2 to 2.
Romans 3:23. For all have sinned and fall
that's my
short
next
of the glory of God.
Romans 3:23
Didn't make the list.
No, it's on the list. I'm almost positive. No, it is not on the list.
Wow.
So I can win it here.
No, that's out of 5.
What?
It's like a shootout. It's
I
out
feel
of
like
5 rounds.
So I won.
No, it's
No, it's how
on
many
the
you have
third
over
round out of
after
5
rounds.
rounds.
We've done this. This is
Yeah.
our
Okay, all
fourth
right.
time to do this.
All right. So keep going. Keep
and
going here.
when I miss, you have to get it. If
I know.
We're doing your round. You still have to get it.
I'm going to
Some
say
interesting ones on here.
Hebrews 11:1.
Hebrews 11:1 is not on here.
Faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. That's the King James version. Oof. Hebrews 1:1's not on there. Oh shoot!
It's not. It's 2 to 2. We're in round 4.
2 to 2. What am I going to say here?
I know it. Oh, now I'm mad.
Matthew 6 or Luke 6:37. Do not judge.
Luke 6:37 is
Judge.
not on here.
Is do not judge not on there?
John 11:35.
John
Jesus
11:35
wept.
is not on there.
No.
Is do not judge not on there?
No.
Really?
No.
Judge not lest you be judged?
No.
Is not on there? There's no way that's not the most.
It's not. And there's
So
one really obvious one that's being missed here.
Oh
There's
man.
one really obvious one that's being missed.
I know it, but I don't know the verse reference. This is gonna be a problem. Man.
The most popular. Say it again. The most popular.
20 most popular Bible verses based on Google search.
Google search.
I don't know them.
I'd argue there's one that's more popular than John 3:16.
Probably, yeah. I mean, I know
John
one.
14:6.
John 14:6.
I am the way, the truth, and the life. No man
It's a
comes
good
to
one.
the Father but me.
John 14:6 is not on
I
there.
knew it would be.
John 1:1. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was with God.
So we're still going, or we're just tied?
Yeah, you still go.
Next
Because
person
we're
to
still
get
tied
one.
2 to 2.
Oh,
No,
man.
because
3-3, right?
it's 2 to 2 because we missed 3 in a row.
Yeah, it's 2 to 2.
We both got the first
There's
2.
one so obvious one.
Well, it's not obvious because
It's
I'm
very
not thinking of
obvious.
it.
I know what it is. Okay, so hold on.
No,
Can
no.
we go without verses now? Can we go with the actual?
Yeah, no, it's a Bible podcast. You have to have the
You have to know the verse.
the
Like,
verse reference.
some people are great.
All
with verse
these are
references.
more.
Okay.
More than half of these are more recognizable by reference than by the verse.
Oh, I know one. I think I got one.
I'm so embarrassed.
You're so embarrassed.
There's the most popular verse in the Bible.
Oh, 1 Corinthians 13:1.
I don't think that's on there, but let me just double check. No, it's
Ephesians 2:20.
no.
No, 1 Corinthians
Christ
13:1 is not on there?
And when I say any of these, they're all so obvious.
Okay, well, I mean, I'm just like,
You gotta just let us say verses at this point.
Let's just move on. We can't spend all day. So.
Okay. No one gets any points.
So we get to say verses.
Jeremiah 29:11.
Oh.
Romans 8:28.
Yeah.
Oh.
First Peter 5:7.
First Peter 5:7. You're
Oh,
a royal
Cast
nation,
all
holy
your
priest.
cares on
Yeah.
Casting your cares on him for good.
Joshua 1:9.
John 1:9.
Joshua, that's in my house. Oh my word.
Philippians 4:13.
Oh, we're bad. We are
At least had
bad.
some good ones.
We did.
What's
All right.
next?
Okay, the next one is state capitals. Okay, state capitals. Yours is name 3 state capitals that begin with the letter T.
Me?
Yeah.
Tallahassee. That's hard. Are there more than 3 or just 3?
I think there's just 3.
Trenton.
I got that one. Shoot.
Topeka.
That's correct.
Nice.
All right, John Michael, you're on 1-0. Name 3 state capitals that begin with the letter M.
Montpelier. Oh my word. Minneapolis.
Need one more answer.
I know.
Ten seconds.
Why do we need one more answer?
10 seconds.
Oh,
Hey, that wasn't even right. One of those wasn't
St.
even.
Paul, Minnesota. Not
Oh, you're right.
Minneapolis.
All right, you have a chance to steal.
Madison, Wisconsin.
yeah, that's that one. Shoot.
I forgot I had a chance to steal.
He did get one right. So
He
I
did get
know.
one
Oh,
right, so-
Mount Pelair. I know that.
yeah,
I know
you
that.
don't
Vermont.
really need to say that.
Montgomery.
That is correct. No, sorry. Yeah, it is correct.
Montgomery,
Okay, yeah,
yeah.
I was
I know
right.
it's right.
I thought you had said that one already.
No, I said
Yeah.
Mount Pelair, Madison.
2-0. All right, round 3 is Texas Rangers. Okay, the Texas Rangers came into existence in 1972. What team relocated to Arlington, Texas, to become the Rangers?
Washington Senators.
3-0. John Michael, who did the Rangers compete against in their first organized game at the ballpark in Arlington?
That's the question. That's the same.
Yeah,
That's not the same. Those are not the same question.
I think I know this, and I don't know.
they're the
names.
same difficulty level on the site that I pulled them from.
Minnesota Twins.
Incorrect.
I don't know why I think this because it doesn't seem to be right, but I'm going to say the San Francisco Giants.
No, that's close.
That was the
though.
first interleague play.
New York Mets.
The Giants are the first team that played interleague.
But no, I know it was
It is the Mets. It was the, yeah.
because I had
knew
a
that.
little thing out there.
2-0 still. Okay. This is a list, so if you get this, we'll even need to play the niche categories. Well, I guess we would, but Cowboys top 10 all-time sack leaders.
Cowboys all-time top 10 sack leaders. Harvey Martin.
Yes, he's tied for 10 till it looks on here.
He should be number 1. Oh, this doesn't count because he was before like they started keeping.
Assists.
That's why he's on. Okay,
Assists.
that doesn't.
He didn't get any assists.
That so we can just go with the next one because that is sort of right, but sort of for this list. Not
DeMarcus
right.
Ware.
DeMarcus Ware, yes.
Oh, I get to go.
Yeah, that one he counts, but his all there.
All time.
Yeah, what for the Cowboys?
Yes.
Like he holds the record for most sacks in a season. Harvey Martin does.
Ed
Yeah.
Too Tall Jones.
Yes, that's he's number 5, 57 sacks.
Charles Haley.
Charles Haley is
Didn't make
number
it.
8, 34
What?
sacks. Yes.
Wow.
How many?
10.
Number
Oh,
8. How many? 32.
34.
Randy White.
Randy White is number 7, 52.
How does Harvey Martin not beat Randy White? And Martin, well, I'm not going to get into that. Jim Jeffcoat.
Jim Jeffcoat's number 2, 94.
Who, did we do number 1 yet?
Yeah, DeMarcus Ware.
Okay.
He's by far number 1.
It's not Ken Norton Jr. Hold on.
10 seconds.
Hollywood Henderson.
No, incorrect.
Is that it?
That was round
You have to get
4.
one.
You have to get one, yeah.
Okay.
Although I don't think it matters because I don't see JaMychal
I'm
getting
going
it.
to say Bob Lilly, but I mean, but
Is that your final answer?
yes.
No.
Ken
I don't
Norton
see how-
Jr.
No. Wrong. Greg Ellis, Tony
Greg
Tolbert. Oh,
Ellis.
you said that. Charles Haley, Anthony Spencer, Hennings, and Jason Hatcher.
Chad Hennings. Didn't I know that? All right.
Number 12 was Micah
4-0?
Parsons. Yeah.
All right, here we go.
It's over, right?
He could tie it. So,
All right.
what is considered the? Oh, you're sorry. Yours is Gettysburg. Battle of Gettysburg.
Battle's good is my niche, yes.
What was considered as the catalyst or the ending of the Battle of Gettysburg?
Pickett's Charge.
That is correct. 6-0. And
I have the chance.
just so you can get a point, possibly.
It's over. It's over. It's
Boy
over.
Meets World was yours. How many seasons in total are in Boy Meets World?
9.
Not even close. Well, you're kind of close, but not. No.
It was 8, wasn't it?
No.
15.
7.
Oh, I don't know. I have
6
no
to
idea. Never
0.
saw Boy Meets World.
6-0.
That's actually 7 in a row. It's 7 in a row. But I don't want to get into that.
6-0.
I was all
Hey,
close. Guys, thanks for
we
thanks for
appreciate it.
watching.
We
really
normally
do.
would do a Bible rant of the week, but we're not going to do that
It's
because
Tim's-
I'm late
my
for
Bible
my
rant of
dinner,
the week is that
and the
people
lights
that-
might go out
that
again.
go out to
but
eat
the
instead of
top
doing
5
the
women
things
in
of
the
the
Bible.
Lord.
We love you guys. Paul, we appreciate you.
Thank
You're
you,
the best.
Paul. We mess with you, but you're awesome.
See y'all next time when we talk about the tragedies or / the losers.
The
those who
losers,
had
the
it all.
fails of the
those who
Bible.
had it all but lost it by poor decisions. See you guys later.
Bye.
Blessings.